Welcome back to all existing subscribers and anyone that doesn't know me. My name's Ed Bailey and I'm a Chartered Financial Planner. We know very well that the UK state pensions purchasing power is protected by a triple lock that has been in place since around 2010. It was put into place by the government to guarantee the state pension would not lose value in real terms. However, the pandemic has led to wild swings in the economy with knock-on effects on prices and on earnings. And with the current data, the Treasury is looking at a potential multi-billion pound bill. Based on the current data, this looks set to be an increase of 5.6% according to analysis by former Pensions Minister Steve Webb. Bear in mind that the total cost of the state pension is currently around £100 billion per year, and it is structured on a pay-as-you-go basis. There is no big fund or investment that this money is taken from. It simply relies on incoming tax, mostly via national insurance contributions, to pay for the current retirees. So could this be the end of the triple lock guarantee? So let's have a look at this. The triple lock protection is the higher of the following amounts: the percentage increase in consumer price inflation, or the percentage increase in average earnings in the year compared with the same quarter a year earlier, or a floor of 2.5%. And the pandemic has led to significant swings in the overall economy with knock-on effects on prices and on earnings. As demand in the economy dropped, price inflation fell, and the CPI figure used in the last state pension uprating was just 0.5% or 0.5%. But we now hear a lot about inflation concerns, with headline consumer price inflation in the US now at 5%. Also, as the economy went into lockdown, some workers lost their jobs altogether, but millions more were put on furlough with reduced wages, and this resulted in a negative figure for average earnings growth for the last state pension uprating. In April 2021, the Chancellor chose to apply the triple lock formula, which led to an above inflation increase of 2.5% in the state pension rate. But despite inflation accelerating at a rather startling amount, rather surprisingly, it's actually earnings that are growing at a much faster rate, meaning that in the autumn, when the UK government has to decide on pension increases, the earnings increase is likely to be the higher figure. Although the May inflation numbers did show a jump in CPI inflation over 2 months from 0.7 in March to 2.1 in May, the latest forecast for inflation suggests a rise to around 2% by quarter 3 in 2021, which is largely irrelevant as far as the triple lock is concerned due to the 2.5% floor that would be used. However, new earnings figures published on the 15th of June showed a sharp year-on-year increase of 5.6% to April 2021. Given that out of the measures used as part of the triple lock, this would clearly be the highest. Therefore, this would be the level used to increase the state pension, which is currently at around $9,300 for a full state pension, to around $9,900 per year. Having said this, the ONS, the Office for National Statistics, has stated that the 5.6% increase is possibly misleading for the following reasons. A year ago, wages were depressed by furlough and other factors and are now simply returning to more normal levels. So we're not necessarily seeing big underlying pay rises, but the removal of a temporary drop. The ONS estimates that without this effect, the figure would have been around 4.3 to 4.8%. Average earnings themselves obviously only include earnings of people in work. In the last year, job losses have been concentrated amongst the lower paid. If lower paid people drop out of the figures, the average wage will increase. Again, the ONS estimates that this would account for around 1.5% of the 5.6% figure. And stripping out both of these effects would result in wage growth of around 3%. As Steve Webb points out, the triple lock policy applies to the old basic state pension and the new flat rate pension. In 2021 to 22, these elements cost around £85 billion, so a 5.6% increase would add around $4.8 billion to the state pension bill. By contrast, if the Treasury chose to define earnings in terms of the underlying wage growth of 3%, the uprating would only cost around $2.5 billion, a saving of over $2 billion. Such an adjustment to the earnings measure would be hugely tempting. The issue here for the Chancellor is that even without the triple lock in place, the law requires him to link pensions to earnings growth at a minimum. Clearly, it would be tempting for the government to amend the measure so that it's flattened out or averaged out over a longer period of time, or more likely, the Treasury officials will look to fudge the data somehow. Regardless of how it will be done, it is difficult politically to amend, and any obvious changes would face immediate scrutiny as it impacts on so many lives. However, we've already seen a number of amendments to the state pension age, so perhaps tweaks to the triple lock will not come as too much of a surprise.
Increase in the state pension age to 68 in the mid-2030s and to 69 in the late 2040s.